Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we are going to be talking about the newest palette from Nomad Cosmetics. So this is their holiday palette for 2024. This is the Polar Express palette. I got this a couple nights ago and I am very excited to play with this. I've already pulled it out and done a couple light swatches, and I think this might be my favorite of their holiday palettes they've done so far. So I'm very excited to do a couple looks with this, do some swatches, and see if this is possibly worth your money. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Colin. I'm a non-binary Latinx scientist and lover of makeup with a definite special interest in sparkly indie makeup and high-end and luxury makeup. And I tend to be pretty analytical in the content I make. I just try to make really thoughtful, thorough videos, and I have new videos every week, so I'd really love to have you subscribe. So like I said at the beginning, this is their holiday palette. They've done one other like true Christmas palette in the past that I can remember. It was a 9-pan that had like a few mattes and then some shimmers that were a little bit more thin and highlighter. I actually liked them as a highlighter more than an eyeshadow. That is the one palette from Nomad that I haven't really loved. I said it was like, it's fine, nothing special, but it's fine. And then that one I did declutter last year. I don't remember if they had a holiday one last year. I will have to edit here if I remember. But very excited for this. I was a little surprised that they already had another palette coming out because we just had the Chicago Speakeasy one, but these are very different vibes. This is very much holiday, and this is like fall, winter, you know, in general. Their color stories and palettes that they do in like the fall and winter are always my favorite, so. And then the outer carton has a preview of the shadows like normal, details of the palette. This one has cocoa seed butter in it. There's always some kind of infusion, and it kind of changes depending on the theme. This one is 8 mattes, 6 glowing shimmers, and 1 multi-chrome. And then this one, like all of them, are cruelty-free, vegan, everything like that. No parabens, phthalates, or mineral oil, although there's really nothing wrong with phthalates, but and then this is a proud supporter of the WWF and their work in the Arctic. I believe that's the World Wildlife Foundation. So every palette also has a portion of the proceeds going to a charity. When you slide the palette out, you can still see the train in the back. It looks like the whole back, the front of the palette is in there. And then the actual palette has a little snowy village and the train. I actually have a funny Polar Express story that I can tell later. And then I like that the border is train tracks. I've never seen the movie, so if you're someone who's a big fan of the movie, I've never seen it. The visuals of it just kind of scare me, so I've just never, I just can't. And then when you open it up, you get this really beautiful blue neutral palette. So it's not really neutral to pop-up blue. It is half neutral, half blue, which I really like. I love a mix of warm and cool tones. Favorite kind of palettes do that. You've got some reds, you've got this kind of antique gold, true neutral mattes, some neutral shimmers, and then this like icy section. I think this is really well done. I have done some light swatches on a couple shades, but nothing to mess up the embossings, which you see there's like a cup of cocoa on the hot cocoa shade, and there's a train, and there's Santa's sleigh. That one says North Pole. I think they did a very good job. So I'm gonna do some swatches. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna do 2 looks, I think. A neutral look and a blue look, so you can see both. And see if this is, you know, a color story that you like and worth your money. So this video should be going up the day that it is announced. I did get this in PR a couple days early. I am hoping that I can film over the next day or 2 and get this ready for Saturday when this is being announced. And then normally it launches Monday night / Tuesday morning at midnight, like 10 p.m. Pacific time for me. But it'll officially be out on Tuesday, so you have a couple days to think about it and see if you want it. I do want to have this go up on Saturday. I like to give people a couple days to like search and see if it's worth it, watch multiple reviews, multiple skin tones, especially if you are someone who has trouble with that like me. And then, yeah, I know sometimes like people like my friend Tom find it really annoying when all the videos go up at once, but that's just how things work. Okay, so I'm gonna go down on my table to do the swatches. I'm gonna film those later after I do this look because I'm wearing long sleeves, so I'm gonna need a change. So I'm gonna do those, insert that. I always like to preface that swatches really are just to show you what this looks like on skin and on a skin tone. They don't really tell you how things perform, although Nomad palettes normally swatch fine. This is about seeing what it'll look like. So I do have a medium olive undertone, so hopefully that is helpful for you. And I don't put any, like the normal, I don't put lotion or anything down. I just take my watch off and swatch on my arm. So let's go to the swatches and then we'll get to the looks. Okay, so here is the palette up close. You can see I've already done some looks with it. So some of the embossings are not quite intact anymore, but really pretty. I'm gonna do mattes. I'm gonna do like sections. So I'm gonna do the more warm neutrals and then the blues on the other side. So I'm gonna start with Nougat Candy, Hot Cocoa, and Dark Forest. These all feel like the standard silky Nomad mattes. Yeah, these are really nice. You've got a nice dark brown, pretty neutral, mid-tone brown. And I know from using it that it does build really nicely. And then a nice, for me, brightening inner corner, or if you're pale, kind of a blending out, setting your base shade. And then the last matte over here is Santa's Helpers, which is this more red tone shade, but it's kind of a bricky red, which is my favorite. I don't know what Nomad's descriptions are gonna be for these, but yeah, that's the kind of red I like. It's not like a primary red. It's a little muted, maybe a little bit of brown in there. And then the shimmers. So I'm gonna do Mr. C. Feels pretty creamy. There's a little bit of sparkle I can see. First Gift, love this. This is like my favorite kind of shadow. I have some multiple singles like this. Christmas Carol, I hate ruining the embossings. It's a really pretty gold, but it's more of an antique gold, not like a true yellow. So if you want more warmth or like holiday gold. And then Believe is this one. This one feels a little less smooth, but as I touch it, it's smoothing out. And that's a nice red. There's a little less sparkle to it. It's a little thinner. This one has a lot of like micro sparkle. Like I can see bronze, gold, champagne. There's like little bits of other colors. So there's the champagne. This does sheer out into a nice sparkle, which I appreciate. We've got the nice smoky brown. There's definitely a lot of dimensional sparkle there. Christmas Carol, this is my favorite kind of gold. Really like that. And then Believe. I see like orange sparkle in there and some red. That's pretty. I will probably never use that shade though. I don't really like red on my eyes. Really don't want to mess up that snowflake embossing. It's a really nice pigmented white. North Pole, very silky. Desert of Ice, a little bit darker, a little less white to it. Frozen Sea, nice dark blue. So you can do a nice monochromatic blue look if you want. There's the white. That is a really nice dark blue. And you can see this one kind of has kind of a taupe tone to it now, especially next to the white. And then we've got the last three shimmers. So All Aboard is an iridescent white, it looks like. Iridescent, probably blue. Yeah, I see a little bit of blue purple to it. Silver Bell. This looks like a silver but blue, like a blue silver. Yeah. Oh no, it's pretty true tone silver. Maybe it's just looking blue because of the stuff around it. And then Polar Express in the middle. And this is the multi-chrome. I see kind of teal over here, purple, little bit of gold if I hold it this way. It's a really pretty shade. I'll just put those here on my wrist. So here's that iridescent shade. It's white, but yeah, there's that like hint of purple to it. We've got the silver. It's a really pretty silver. And it does, yeah, it does have a little bit of a blueness to it against at least my undertone. And then Polar Express. The silver feels the thickest of all the metallics. None of them really feel thick, but this feels the thickest. And this is really smooth. Lots of sparkle. Definitely see blue reflecting towards the camera, but I'm viewing mostly purple. You can probably see it if I turn my wrist. Yeah, I can see that purple there. And then I see a little bit of kind of almost pink fuchsia if I go this way. So that's really pretty. Okay, so that is everything swatched out. I love a warm, cool combo. I think they did a really good job on this. I'm excited to play with this more. Okay, hopefully this was helpful. And then now let's get on to the looks. Okay, so I hope the swatches were helpful. Let's get into the first look. I think I'm gonna do neutrals tonight and then we'll do blues later. I do wanna show it side by side real quick with the Speakeasy palette. I like that there's kind of a similar vibe of like neutrals and a color. So instead of, this one was neutrals and like purples, and this is neutrals and blues. I do think these are different. Like these are a little, that's definitely more golden. This looks more true neutral. This has a charcoal and a dark like red brown. This looks a little more just dark brown. So no duping, but you know, I like that mixture of neutrals to ground things and color for fun. So if you're curious about the makeup I'm wearing right now, it is a little bit of the House Labs concealer, just where I needed it under my eyes and like around here for redness. Both of my KJH brand blushes. Ooh, I have the hiccups. Both of my blushes that I got from KJH brand, the Soft Tomato and Soft Raisin, I just mixed both on the back of my hand and put them on with a brush. And then my Surratt Brow Gel, powder, a little bit of Glow Lust under here as well. And then this is what I wore to work. So I just added a little bit more blush and a little bit more powder before I got on camera. Lipstick is one of the new Lisa Eldridge Rouge Experience shades. Those came a couple days ago and I'm testing them. I want to wear them a couple times before I film my review of swatches and thoughts. But this is the Ashes of Roses shade. Wow, I'm having a hard time talking today. I'm just gonna start going in. If you are new here, I sometimes talk about politics, so sorry if that bothers you, but not sorry. I'm just using a little of my Lisa Eldridge Phoebe shade liquid shadow to prime my eyes. I need an eye primer. And especially if you're doing neutrals, this, you know, is a good neutral shade for me, but also for the blues, it should work well to help them blend into my skin a little bit better. But you know, the election was a couple days ago. I haven't been sleeping well. I've been stressed, not doing well, but I didn't really have the energy to film, but also know that this can be kind of therapeutic to play with makeup and all of that. So I thought maybe that'll help get the video done, but also like have some time to play with something pretty and have a little bit of joy. Okay, so to start, I'm gonna pick up my go-to brush, Refer 1, and I'm gonna pick up a little bit of Nougat Candy. I think that might be a nice inner corner shade, but we'll see. It looks pretty pale, but not like a bone pale. And I'm gonna put that right here. Yeah, I was right, on me. So if you're a much lighter skin tone, this might be a good blending out shade or setting. Like Tom uses shades like these to set their primer. For me, this is just gonna be a nice inner corner, and I really like a matte inner corner to brighten. So I'm just gonna buff that in right there. Okay, I like that. And now I'm gonna go into Hot Cocoa. I'm gonna stick with the neutral mattes. I could use Sandus Helpers. It does look really pretty. Ow. Okay, yeah, like I said, it's just been off this week. That is really pretty. It's the kind of red shade that I do like, kind of a clay red, but no, I don't think I'm gonna use that. Like I said, I haven't done the swatches yet because I'm wearing long sleeves. So I'm gonna go into Hot Cocoa. Picks up very nice, and it does seem like a very good neutral brown. And I'm gonna pat that out here. Okay, that does have a decent amount of depth, more than I was expecting. And then I'm gonna buff that into the crease. And I'm just gonna use this to shape the eye. I like to start with a mid shade, which is exactly what I did there. Oh, I'm gonna scoop this in. And I'm gonna have a sip of my Negroni. Okay, so I'm just gonna place that down. Again, I put a little bit more. I really like that tone, and it is very neutral. And then I'm just using the side of the brush to buff the edges. And you can really see how bright that is compared to it now. This might end up becoming, despite it being Christmas, one of my favorites, just color story wise. Sorry if this video feels a little, if I feel a little chaotic and off, but this whole week has been, I know it has been for a lot of people. I did have a video go up today that was pre-filmed, and I did get some comments that were like, thank you for the distraction. So I get it. Need that distraction. Okay, really like the structure that gave. I can definitely build it up a little bit more if I want. It builds on itself nicely. And then I think I'm gonna pick up a slightly smaller brush and put a little bit of the dark shade out there just to see how that works. This is the shade Dark Forest. Although I think I have a decent amount of depth for every day, but you know, smoky never hurt. So my funny Polar Express story while I try out these shades. Years ago, like 20 years ago, when I was in high school, God, that makes me feel old. I was having dinner, we were having Christmas dinner actually at one of my cousin's houses. So I grew up very poor, but after my mom died, one of her cousins took me in, and one of their siblings had a fancy restaurant and a nice house and stuff, so we would do Christmas at their place. That looks really nice. I'm gonna do a little bit on the other eye too. But we were all sitting there having dinner, and it was a bunch of that really does build. Cousins and some of their spouses and stuff. I was the youngest, being like 16. And my cousin's wife was there with her mom, so his mother-in-law, and I think she'd gotten a little drunk on all the wine, you know, holidays. And there's a painting directly across from their table, and she was like, oh, that's such a lovely painting. Is that the Polar Express? And so fitting for Christmas. And everyone was like, what are you talking about? What is this woman saying? And after a couple months, she was like, the painting. She was like, there's the light, there's the train. No, it was a painting of a nude woman. And what she thought was the front of the train, the light was like, you know, the front of her ass facing the viewer, and then the train was her body, and like her hair she thought was the smoke. And everyone was like, please maybe have a little less wine, but also put your glasses on. And for every time now, like I haven't been over there in years, but every time I went over, I would walk in that room and I would see that painting and just be like, is that the Polar Express? And now that is what I think of every time I hear about the Polar Express. Okay, I'm just gonna, messed up a little bit right there. I'm just gonna duplicate this over here real quick, and then we'll try one of the shimmers. Okay, so just repeated that on the other eye, and then I think I have to try First Gift. It looks a little taupey, a little brown, a lot of my favorites. I might put a little bit of this one on top. I could do, if I wanted, yeah, this is kind of an antique gold. That would be really pretty. But I think I just gotta try this brown shade. I'm gonna pick it up with my finger. That's really pretty. It's very similar to Charlotte Tilbury Smoky Quartz, which I just bought. Oh yeah, that is very similar. Of course, I just buy a single and then I get it in a palette. That is really pretty. This is me. I mean, you could, especially if you took out the dark forest shade and just use the mid-tone brown in this, that is kind of an everyday neutral look for me. Little taupey, little brown. This is my comfort zone as far as what I've been wearing every day lately. I really like that. I'm gonna take a little bit of the Mr. C shade right at the top. Just kind of tap it over. It looks a little more champagne and a little more sparkly. So I'm just gonna put it over the center. And then I got a little bit up here, so you can kind of see it is a little more sparkly. That's really pretty. Okay, I really like that. Let me do this on the other eye. And then I'm gonna throw mascara on and stuff, and then we'll move on to the, well, you'll move on to the second look. Okay, so I went off camera, finished this eye, and then I threw a little bit of mascara on. This is the Cloud Mascara from Sweet Beauty. This is the third time I've worn it, and I'm really liking it. The first time I got way too much on, but I've been more careful, and with a light layer, I really am liking it. So this is the first look. This is the neutrals. Obviously, you can use any of the shimmers. You could do neutral with the blue, purple, multi-chrome here. You could do the red. You could incorporate the red matte. You could do the gold. You can pretty much use any shimmer with the neutrals. That's what I do on a day-to-day basis, is use these kind of shades, throw a fun sparkle. But really like this like fully neutral kind of taupey brown. Looks nice. There's a lot of sparkle, especially up here from that Mr. C shade, but it's not too sparkly. It's just like a perfect everyday, I want to look and feel good kind of shade. So let me know what you think of this, and then let's go into the second look, and then we'll wrap everything up. So I am back for the second look. I decided to just do it today. I took a little break, washed off my eye makeup, and then touched up my concealer. And then I put a little bit of the same eye base down. I don't know if I'll have time tomorrow, and I just want to make sure I can get this done while I have a little bit of energy and time. So I'm going to do a blue look now. You could easily do a fully monochromatic look and do bright, medium, dark. There's a white shade if you want. I will probably use the white as an inner corner highlight again, actually. So let me grab a little flat brush. This one has a really nice embossing of snowflakes, so I don't want to ruin that, but I'm gonna see how this works as white. Tap it off, and that is definitely a white. So if you want a white to blend the edges or do a very, very bright inner corner, you've got one. Wow, that is a nice white. Let's see. It's always a weird sentence to say. Let's see. So I'm just blending the edges, diffusing that. Yeah, if you want a very bright inner corner, there you go. Okay, I'm actually gonna go in to a little bit of hot cocoa to start. So I did use the same Lisa Eldridge eye base, and it's fairly similar to my skin tone, so that'll help things. But I'm gonna pick up on a really big fluffy brush a bit of hot cocoa and a little bit of nougat candy. And I'm gonna use that throughout the crease. You can see it's much lighter than before, to give something for those blues to blend into. You don't have blue naturally in your skin. I have a little bit of green, being olive, but this will help diffuse and have a better blend, because you're blending into those light brown shades, those neutrals, instead of trying to blend into nothing or blend into just blue. Okay, I'm gonna start in the middle like normal. So I'm gonna do, this is the North Pole, Desert of Ice, and Frozen Sea. So I'm gonna do Desert of Ice and see how that works. This is a Sigma brush. The embossing and the shade kind of remind me of one from it's like a darker version of a blue that was in the Iceland palette, which was the first palette I bought from Nomad before I got PR from them. That is no longer available, but I still have it. It's one of my, I will never be able to get rid of that. That was the first thing I ever bought from the brand. That is a really nice blue, showing up pretty pigmented and vibrant. And then obviously if I didn't put those branches down, I could just kind of try to diffuse the crease and have it all be blue. But right now, as you can see, what it's doing is it's staying really vibrantly blue there. And then as I buff with the edge of the brush into the blue or into the brown, it's diffusing and taking and like neutralizing it a bit, so you get a little bit more of a gradient. I did change my earrings since the other ones were so red and green, which was not intentional. Those are just what I wore today. But I do think it's funny. Those are Howl's Moving Castle themed earrings, themed after Howl's earrings themselves. Red and green, lime green, but still red and green for Christmas, kind of funny. But because I was doing a blue look, I switched, and these are Ponyo themed jellyfish earrings. So apparently it's a Studio Ghibli earring day. Yeah, this is a really nice blue. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of North Pole on the same brush and put it out here just so I can see the difference. Definitely a little lighter, a little more white to it, but they do work well. And then I'm just gonna pick up that first brush with nothing on it and buff those edges. So there, they're still blue. If I'm looking, if I relax my eye, you still see blue, but I do have that neutral gradient. It's kind of a blue, it does have some blue in it out here, but you can see it's softer. So if you're ever worried about using a color like blue and having it blend into your skin, that's something you can do pretty easily. Okay, so you could easily top this with the gold for some contrast. You could do this sparkly champagne. There's a silver here with like a hint of blue to it. Not normally one for silver, but that would be really pretty. There's an iridescent white, but I think I'm gonna use the Polar Express shade, which is a blue-purple multichrome, and then maybe a little bit of this iridescent. I'm gonna pick it up with my finger again. I do have brushes, but yeah, it's a really pretty blue-purple multichrome. Really pretty. I definitely think Nomad, I mean, I've always liked their shimmers, but I do think that they have upped the formula in the last year. So pretty. So now, so when I look at myself, I'm seeing a lot of purple, but when I look in my camera, I'm seeing mostly blue, kind of monochromatic blue. I will try to insert a clip when I'm done so you can hopefully see the shift a little bit, but you can probably see, yeah, if I hold my finger this way, you can see the purple kind of goes with my nails. There's like purple if you go that way, and then blue straight on. And I see a little bit of gold there on the edge if I'm holding it this way as well. That's really pretty. Monochromatic, but not at the same time because of the purple and the neutral kind of in the crease to buff it. I like that a lot. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of olive wood, an iridescent white blue. I'm gonna just tap that over. Just adds a little bit more brightness and a little sparkle. And if I put it up here, you can see that kind of icy white wet effect. That'd be really pretty just all over the lid. Okay, I really like this. I'm not gonna put any shadow down here. I wanted to leave it kind of like this. So I'm gonna do this on the other eye, add some mascara again, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back and this is the finished look. I did everything the same on the other eye, and then I used the other mascara Swede sent me so I could try that again. I like it better this time because I was very careful not to get too much. They're just new mascaras, and they're one of those where like it's easy to get too much right away, but I really like this. It's blue, it's a little bit of purple, it's really pretty. I realized I didn't use Frozen Sea in the first eye, so I did put a little bit down here, but I'm gonna pick up a little bit more. And I'm gonna kind of tap it out here on the edge over the shimmer and blend it in with this. This is a Fantasy Cosmetica brush. This is the EO2. It's my favorite brush from them. I really like this for this kind of work, like putting something on the outer part of the eye. Yeah, that adds a little bit more depth, and it's blending into the multi-chrome well. It's not like taking away anything. Okay, so I really like this look. And so far, really liking the palette. So let me know what you think of this one, and then let's move on to final thoughts. So I really like this. I did some light swatches of this shade, and I think this shade, and like this shade the other day, and I wore this on the eye for a little bit just by itself. It seems like the Nomad formula that I know and love, the even more improved version. I've never had an issue with like things not lasting all day or anything like that. They're not too emollient that they like crease and do weird things or melt off my eyes. Melting off my eyes is the big thing. Obviously, I did not use the silver. I only kind of used the shade. I didn't use the shade or either of the red tones, but I used most of it. I think this is unique for their color stories. It kind of, the like red, blue, neutral, like reminds me of bits of others, but nothing is exactly like this. Really like the way they did this. I think this is a really cute holiday release, and also just like a really nice palette, like even outside of the Polar Express theme. This is a color story that I would gravitate towards even if they changed the theming and the names and stuff. Like, I'm not that big of a Christmas person. I just think this is really well done, and also says the holidays, Christmas. You've got that bright gold, like the antique gold if you want. You've got the blue, you've got the white sparkly snow shades. You can do silver. I think this is just really well done. So I'd love to hear what you think. Like I said, this video should be going up the day this is announced. It'll launch in a couple days. I do have a discount code with Nomad. It's not affiliated, so I don't earn money from it. It's just to save you money. It's bones. I don't think I mentioned that at the beginning, but I'll put it in the screen like I always do. It's always in the description box. So let me know what you think of the two looks. I'm gonna keep playing with this when I'm not feeling pressured for time. Yeah, let me know what you think. Are you gonna pick this one up? What do you think of the color story? What do you think of the two looks? I'd love to talk to you all in the comments. Makes my day. So thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. It really helps a lot, and I will see you all in my next video.